Welcome back to another edition of the Saga of Dingo. It is your boy driving home from a lovely dinner with his wife. Aha! Anyway, try not to look at the camera too much, but I wanted to say to y'all, I'm very sorry that I was not able to stream Battlefront tonight. So as a little treat, just a little treat, I'm going to give you guys some Baldur's Gate 3 when I get home. It'll probably be faceless. It'll probably just be no microphone, no face, just a little Baldur's Gate 3 honor mode. You know what I'm saying? A little bit of this, a little bit of that. We're just going to be chilling, all right, gang? Chilling like villains named Krillin. Nothing but the fill-in. I'm not a great rapper. But if I were, I'd be doing H-Town freestyles. I done came down from the H-Town. Anyway. Yeah, that's pretty much all I had to say. So I'm just kind of yapping, just chatting. Maybe I'll tell y'all a little story. Maybe I'll tell you a little story about a man named Harald Hardrada. Now, you might say, who the absolute hell is Harald Hardrada? Okay, I'll tell you. He was the king of Norway in the 11th century for a time. Born in Norway around the year 1000. He fought in the Battle of Stiklestad in Norway on the side of his brother, who was a Christian, one of the first Christian kings of Norway. Now, all the pagans of Norway, they rallied to each other and they said, fuck this Christian king, we're going to kill him. And so they had a big battle, the Battle of Stiklestad, where Harald, the brother of the king, was shot with an arrow and wounded, and they were losing. So he escaped from the battle that they were losing. They lost by a lot. They were very outnumbered. Actually, Harald's brother, I forget his name. The name escapes me, but he became a martyr for Christendom. Anyway, so I gotta get over. Anyway, Harald escapes from Norway to Sweden, eventually goes from Sweden to Russia, fights with the Rus for some time, then takes a bunch of Russians down to Constantinople. After fighting with the armies of Constantinople for a while, he becomes the leader of the Varangian Guard. After he becomes the leader of the Varangian Guard, he sacks 1,000 towns. 1,000 towns this man sacks. That means pillages. This man did some cool stuff, like he got all the birds from this one town that had walls and set them on fire. So when they went back to their home inside the thatched roofs of all the towns inside the city, they just burned that place down. Crazy stuff. In fact, in the show Vikings, you see Ragnar pretend he's dead and try to get buried as a Christian inside Paris. Well, this is something Harald Hardrada actually did. He actually pretended to convert to Christendom and actually asked the town, hey, can we bury our guy inside your town? He's a Christian. And they were like, yeah, okay. This man popped out of the coffin and killed everybody, sacked the town. Crazy stuff, right? Like, that's what that was based off of in the show Vikings. So anyway, after a long time in Constantinople, some say he bangs the Empress and leaves. That's what I like to think happened. He goes back up to Russia. He goes back to Norway. He talks to the king of Norway. I believe the guy's name was Magnus. There was a lot of Magnuses. And he says, well, my brother was the king, so, I think I should probably be king now. And the guy Magnus, not a dummy, okay? not a dummy, recognizes that Harold is he's a pretty badass guy. Pretty tall guy, pretty badass guy. Don't want to mess with Harold. So he was like, you know what, Harold? Why don't we both be kings? And then when I die, you can be the king, the only king. And Harold was like, actually, that's pretty good. That's actually pretty good. We like that. That's not a bad deal. That's actually such a solid deal. We'll take that all the way to the bank. So Harold becomes the king of Norway, the co-king of Norway, and years and years go by. They have lots of wars with Denmark, like a lot of wars with Denmark. They be fighting with Denmark, like some really sick ship battles happen. Harold wins them all. This guy's not about losing, okay? Not a losing battle kind of guy. Anyway, the year is now 1066, and Harold is like, you know what, guys? We're gonna finally do it. We're gonna go to England and we're gonna conquer those Saxons. We're gonna conquer them all. We're gonna be the shit. We're conquering England. We're gonna go. So remember, it's 1066. He sails to England, right? I believe it was called Northumbria at the time. He's not quite up in Scotland, but he's like, let's call it middle northern England. I don't know. Wherever the hell Stamford Bridge is. So they fight a couple of local towns in England, and they're doing their Viking thing, but it's less of Vikings and more like a huge army, right? And the king of England at the time, his name was King Harold Godwinson, and he was like, "Oh shit, gang, we gotta go fight these guys. Norway is literally invading us." So they marched their happy butts up north, all the way from London or whatever it's called at the time, Lugdunum. I don't remember. They march all the way up there, like a long way, and the Vikings, when the army basically comes upon them at Stamford Bridge, they're like playing football. They're like chilling, playing whatever sport it is. Not football, obviously. I'm just giving you a frame of reference. They're literally playing sports. They're not wearing their armor. They're not wearing their weapons. They're like chilling like villains, absolutely not caring what's happening. The army pulls up to the bridge, and the Vikings are like, oh shit, what do we do? What do we do? And King Harold, this badass king, 60-year-old man at this time, at least 60-year-old man at this time, says to his men, go get your armor, go get your weapons, y'all come back as soon as you got them on, I'll hold them off. One man. He is now remembered as the lone berserker of Stamford Bridge. He held off an entire army for 30 minutes. He killed 40 guys. 40! He's averaging 40! He killed 40 men before some genius decides to go underneath the bridge and go stick him with a spear. Now, a lot of people will say to you, this is not King Harold. That was just a random Viking at the bridge who held them off. Oh no, my friends. I believe in my heart that was King Harold Hardrada. Now, the Vikings lost that damn battle. They were not really prepared for it. You usually lose the fights that you don't choose. You know what I'm saying? When the fights come upon you, you're kind of cooked from a standpoint of an army. So the Vikings lost that one. Norway lost that one. They took a big L. Their king died. They lost the battle. But his last stand was sick. It was sick as hell. But then from there, King Harold Godwinson hears, fucking William of Normandy just invaded down south. we gotta have a forced march all the way back down south. So then he marches his happy butts, the guys who just fought a whole ass battle after marching all the way north for like a month, have to march all the way down south, back again, to fight another battle. And this time, they're tired, they're a little overwhelmed. They have the high ground at Hastings, but they get tricked into chasing the fake routing Norman cavalry. And that's how William the Conqueror became the King of England, because Harold Hardrada invaded England first and gave him the opportunity to make shit happen. Anyway, fun little story for you guys. Historians, feel free to pop in here and tell me all the ways that I'm wrong. Except for don't tell me King Harold wasn't the Viking on Stamford Bridge. Don't tell me that. I'll never believe you. That was his ass. His 66-year-old ass. Straight up killing people. Had to get ganked by some guy underneath the bridge who he didn't even see. Most unfair deaths. They haven't even patched it yet, honestly. But anyway, sorry I didn't play some Battlefront tonight. I'll give you some BG3 later. Probably no face, no mic, but love you guys. Thanks for watching.